The purposes of this tutorial, we're going to be walking through an average intake, and I'm going to be talking about why each question is important and the reasons for asking each question. So to begin, we go to the intake case info tab. The first question is, are you currently working? The reason that we're asking this is evident. For our purposes, if an individual is making more than $700 earned income, they're going to be ineligible for our help. To get to this number, we're multiplying the number of hours per week that they're working by their wage per hour. So let's say they're working 10 hours per day, or per week, and they're making $10 an hour. What we would do is take this box 1 times box 2 times 4.3, which is the average amount of weeks in a month, which would give us $430. Under these circumstances, this individual would be eligible to continue on through the intake. If indeed they are making more, or more commonly not working at all, we would proceed. We're going to then move on to confirming the date of the individual's birth. Generally, this is auto-populated by the information that we already have from the lead, such as in this case. However, if not, we're going to want to enter this information, as it is very important. The next question that we're asking is, have you worked 5 of the last 10 years? What this is really getting at is whether or not the individual may be eligible for SSDI or Title II benefits, which requires that they have adequate work credits in order to be eligible. They need 20 work credits, which 4 can be earned every year in the past 5 years. So in this case, this individual we're speaking with has not worked, because we're going to want to see the SSI component. So just because they're not eligible for SSDI does not preclude them from our help. It means that they still may be eligible for SSI or Title 16. So we continue on. Is this prospective client younger than 50 years old? If yes, we will not be able to help the individual, because as a rule for the firm, we do not help SSI only individuals who are less than 50 years old. For the purpose of this tutorial, we're going to continue on and say no, so that we prompt the next question. Again, we're inquiring as to whether or not they have any monthly income from self-employment or work that they're doing for an employer. This is a very important question. If yes, they are working and the amount is over $700, we will not be able to help. But for the purposes of this tutorial, this individual we're going to mark as not working. So, do you have any monthly income from any other sources, including a spouse's work, unemployment, VA disability, or long-term disability? If yes, we will again ask how much, and if that amount is over what is really $700, we will again not be able to help. For purposes of the tutorial, we're going to mark no, so that we can continue forward. Then we're getting at the marital status, and this is important because for an SSI-only individual, we need to really determine what assets they have. If indeed they're single, the asset limitation is $2,000 in a bank account or available to them, and after one house and one car. For a married individual, for SSI only, as a rule, we do not help them because there's problems there with assets being available. And as a rule, the law firm has made a decision that we're no longer going to be able to help SSI only married individuals. We certainly will be able to help SSDI unmarried and married individuals. So again, for purposes of the tutorial, we're going to continue on as though this is a single individual who has not worked 5 of the last 10 years and has no income or asset problems as of yet. Again, this individual does not have over $2,000 and does not have more than one house or one car. This is an SSI only eligible individual with physical. We will continue with the evaluation. If only mental, we as a firm have made the decision that we don't help only mental claims because they are far more difficult if indeed they're SSI only, or if it's both, that will also pass through. So we're just trying to get an idea of what the strengths and weaknesses of the claim are at this point. So here's a very important question. Have you seen or visited any type of doctor or medical clinic within the last 12 months? If no, we're unable to help, not eligible for our representation, because again, medical treatment is going to be the single most important component to any Social Security disability claim. If indeed we have to go to trial, the judge is not going to take the claimant's word or our word solely without any accompanying medical treatment. So 12 months is a long time if someone's really so disabled and so injured that they're unable to work to not have seen a doctor. So we'll go yes, and the intake's going to continue us to the second part of the intake. So we scroll back up and click on the second tab. So the first question on the initial eligibility part 2 tab is any history of drugs or alcohol dependence in medical documentation. We're asking this question because if someone is using alcohol or drugs and it is causing the disability, that can preclude then receiving disability benefits. So we're asking any history of drugs or alcohol in medical documentation, and have you been sober for the past 6 months? If they have been sober, we move on. If they haven't been sober, that precludes our willingness to continue or to represent them. Next question is, did the disability occur from a commission of a felony or other crime? If yes, we're unable to help. The reason for this and kind of the justification is if an individual's disability was again caused by the commission of a felony, such as an armed robbery that turned bad and resulted in the individual from getting shot, the government has an idea that that individual should then not be benefited by the disability that was caused by the commission of a felony. So another example, and probably a more common example, is a DUI where someone other than the individual is grievously injured. This is a felony offense, and if the person who was driving, operating the vehicle became disabled as a result of this felony DUI, we would be unable to help them because the Social Security Administration would deem them ineligible for benefits. So the next question, have you filed for Social Security disability benefits in the past? If yes, we want to get an idea as to when. If no, we continue to move forward with the evaluation. So are you currently receiving Social Security disability benefits? If yes, then that means that we can't then get them for you. So obviously this is a preclusionary question, which we will not be able to help. If no, we'll continue on. Do you already have an attorney or advocate representing you in this matter? If yes, we want to follow up with the question, are you looking to change representation? Now, this is not an uncommon thing. There are quite a few large Social Security disability law firms that aid people, and we get quite a few calls from people who state that they have not heard from their attorney in months, or that the paralegal has not returned any of their calls, or the medical evaluations have not been submitted to the court, and they do want to change. So we ask a follow-up question, are you looking to change representation? If yes, we continue with the process. If no, we're not going to be able to help them because obviously they're represented, they're not looking to change, and we won't be able to help them. So we'll continue to the medical eligibility tab. So as we talked about earlier, this individual may be eligible for SSI. He was not eligible for SSDI provided he had inadequate work credits. So again, we're going to determine what age is. This person, 55 years old. We will be prompted with a 50 is nifty, meaning again that if he's 50 years old and suffering with a physical condition, that is an automatic pass-through. Down below, where we have the opportunity to talk with the individual and get a better idea as to what exactly is going on. Each condition, we try to have a comprehensive overview of the conditions, so we have in alphabetical order of the most common conditions that do result in disability and weighted gold, silver, and bronze. And what we're really trying to do here is get an idea of how and to what extent the medical conditions are causing disability. Okay, so we want to talk with the person and really be thorough in trying to get each and every condition that they have. If indeed they have a condition that's not listed, we want to go down here and ensure that this is being typed in the box, which is just an open box. You can type whatever needs to. And by this point, we're going to have a very good idea as to whether or not we're going to take the individual on as a client. We'll know that whether or not they're technically eligible based upon the initial eligibility screening 1 and 2. And now we have a very good idea of what conditions are preventing them from returning to work. So we can go ahead and complete the final step of the process, which is the intake. In the intake, we ask for some additional information. We want to, again, ensure that their date of birth is correct. And we ask these questions, claimant's mother's maiden name, claimant's father's last name, birthplace, city, and state, because it's very important for the applications team to have this information. This is what the system requires in order to re-enter an application. So we go ahead and ask that here. And finally, there's a space for any additional comments that may be necessary.